All right, so we're going to do a short example here. We're being told that the average cost per disc, like DVD or something, in dollars for a company to produce X number of DVDs on exercising is given by this A of X equals 2X plus 100 over X as X goes for X greater than 0. That's what we want. So we want to say, well, what is the horizontal asymptote? What's the arrow information? What does this mean? But let's look first at, let's say, what do we know about this function? We know that that we have X equals 0, or we have just X in the denominator. So we're going to have a vertical asymptote at X equals 0, where we have 100 over 0 for our cost, which is, of course, undefined. We also see that the degree, numerator and denominator, is the same. Degree is 1. So we will have a horizontal asymptote, y equals, remember it's your leading coefficient, so there's 2, and there's really an unseen 1 here, right? There's really a 1 there. So 2 over 1, which is, of course, 2. So there's that answer. And what does that mean, basically? That means as X goes to infinity, our average cost per DVD is going to go to $2. All right. So what does this mean in terms of the application? We can say as the number of discs produced gets large, the average cost per disc approaches $2, right? Because, when you're in manufacturing, you've got some startup cost and all, and so this is just basically saying my average cost per disc, as the more and more discs that we produce, the closer and closer that average cost per disc gets to $2. And that's, don't overthink these. It's not a difficult example. I just gotta find my mouse here. There we are. All right, so how about if we switch it up a little bit and I say, hey, find me a function that meets these requirements. So we want to find a rational function that has vertical asymptotes at -4, X equals -4. Let's go back. There we are. X equals -4 and X equals 5, so vertical asymptotes there, and an x-intercept at -2, 0. So what do we know here? We know vertical asymptotes, so we know f of x. There, we try that again. F of x equals something. What do we know? We know the denominator. We know we've got x minus -4 has got to be one of the function factors in the denominator, and x minus 5 has got to be one of the others. And then the x-intercept, remember that is going to come from the numerator, so that we need, so x -2, so we would need x plus 2 being a factor in the numerator. It doesn't say anything about the horizontal asymptote, any requirements there, so it doesn't really matter, but we do know from here that we're going to have a horizontal asymptote at, let's see, we've got degree 1 over degree 2, so that means it's going to be the x-axis. And the other thing I'm going to note is that any scalar multiple of this is going to also work. So 2 times this function, 3 times this function, -5 times this function. So if I gave you a y-intercept, any point on the graph, but a y-intercept, you can plug in and solve for that a. Okay? All right, so next up is talking about slant asymptotes.